Hey everybody, this will be your trade ideas for 920 through 924. All right. So first we're gonna start with SQ. All right, right now SQ is looking like it might form a hammer on the month. All right. But the week is looking like it's setting up for a reversal. So I kind of already started marking on it before. I was like, let me just go ahead and just record. Anyways, the entry for calls on the week would be 257.27 high. I found that was just by marking the high of this candle. As you can see, the high, if you look up here, the high is 257.27. PT1 for calls on the week is going to be 270.45. Then PT2 is going to be 276.14. PT3 is going to be 286.52. Then PT4 is 289.23. And all I'm doing is marking the highs of the candles. All right. And the reason why I wouldn't mark this one because this high has already been taken out by this candle. So when I'm looking at price targets, I'm marking the highs that haven't been taken out yet. Okay. So that's how I get my price target. All right. So right here, I'm looking at this potentially being a 2 down, 2 up reversal. Also, if it does break the low of this candle, which is 237.91, as you can see right here, that would be entry for puts on the week. But for the most part, I'm looking like I'm bullish on it. All right. Entry, puts, week. All right. And then I'm just going to have like my week be dots. All right. Then when we go down to the daily, as you can see, the week entry and the daily entry are the same. All right. But then you got your week entry for puts, which I meant your daily entry, my bad. So your daily and week call entry is going to be the same. But your entry for puts on the daily is going to be 252.38. First price target is 247.48. Second price target is 245.07. All right. But if we go to, and then you have, let me go ahead and go over the calls. So the first price target before you get to the week price target is going to be the first price target for calls is going to be 258.63. And then you got PT2, which is going to be 265. Now, if we go down to the 4 hour, you'll see we got an earlier entry for calls and for puts. All right. So our earlier entry for puts is going to be 252.76. All right. And then your entry for calls on the 4 hour is going to be 256.07. And so with this one, obviously the trade ideas are meant to be swings as long as they don't go against you, as long as it closes as a strong candle. All right. So if it closes like this, that's a strong candle. This is a strong candle. You wouldn't want to go calls and it pull all the way back like how this candle did. Obviously, this is a 4 hour example, but let me show you. So if it pulled back like this, obviously you wouldn't want to stay calls. You would want to have, hopped out and took profit. So what I'm thinking for SQ, the way it's put, setting up looks like it's at the bottom of the broad information. If it goes ahead and reverses here, I may potentially, well, you could potentially go out with a extra week's expiration instead of going with this week's. You could potentially look to go a week out because SQ could be something that you could potentially swing if it stays strong and it doesn't, pull back. If it goes 2 up this upcoming week, it doesn't pull back, it stays strong. Like how this candle did, but that's a 3. Like this candle, it could potentially be a swing into the next week. All right. Um, so you could potentially go with next week's expiration, or if you want to go with the monthly contract, like I talked to y'all about, you can potentially go with the October 15th contract. So if you're gonna go October, and let's say you just want to swing into the next month because maybe on the monthly chart it's setting up for a 2 down, 2 up reversal. If it continues to stay strong this week and next week, all right, and set up as a potential hammer to go into next month, especially if the continuity goes green. Uh, you could potentially maybe look at a 290 call. The all-time high is 289. So maybe SQ, potentially next month goes back up into the all-time highs. And, this could be a great time to start that position or whatnot. All right. Other than that, or you could just take it, week by week and walk it up instead of, just grabbing a 4 hour expiration. The 290 call, I think it's like only $1. So if it works out, I may do that, but we'll see how it works out, how it plays, throughout the week. Because it might just trade sideways. It might trade sideways, kind of like how it did here, and not really go anywhere. But if it truly, goes up and hits, PT1 for the week and keeps going into the next week, that wouldn't be bad, you know. All right. So that's what I got for SQ. Next, what we got is all right. So next, what we got is Twitter. Twitter looked like it could be at the bottom of the triangle. Looked like it took out the nearby pivots that it wanted to take out, and could be reversing to the upside. So if I was to draw my broad information, I'll draw from here to here. Remember, your broad information should basically look like a less than sign. All right, and then you can draw from like here back to here. All right. Um. So with I mean not with SQ, with Twitter, your entry will be right here, off it potentially being the bottom of the triangle, bottom of the broad information, basically, and we can get a 2 down, 2 up reversal right here. All right. So you know, entry calls week. Change this to a dotted line for the week, and then below here would be your entry for puts. If this isn't the bottom of the broad information, entry puts week. All right. Then price target 1 for puts will be right here. And I'm only gonna mark price target 1 because it's gonna be a long way down for it to fall from right there. PT1 puts week. All right. Then you got PT1 calls, PT2, PT3. I ain't gonna walk it all the way up like I did SQ. All right. So PT1 calls week. All right. Green dotted. PT2 calls week. PT3 calls week. All right. Go down to the daily. We see basically it could be a potentially 2-2 continuation. Mark the low for puts. So this would be your entry for puts on the daily. Entry puts daily. All right. And then this would be PT1, PT2 for puts. PT1 puts daily. Then this would be PT2. PT2 puts daily. All right. Then you got PT1 for calls on the daily. PT1 calls daily. All right. Now we go down to the 4 hour, get our earlier entry. All right. It's not really much of one for puts, so I'm not going to mark the bottom of this for puts. But you have an earlier entry for calls. Entry calls 4 hour. It's more noticeable. That's like, what is that? Low. Yeah, that's literally 2 cents. All right. So that's what we got. All right. Your week entry and your daily entry are the same, but you got the earlier entry on the 4 hour, 62.51. All right. With Twitter, let me look on the month. Twitter could be setting up for a reversal into the next one if it keeps going up. So if this is really the bottom of the triangle, it could be setting up for a 2 down, 2 up month. So if you want to go with the October contract for this one, you can. Or you can just, take it week by week or just go out one extra week. All right. And for this one, like I was talking about, like, the 290 for 1015 for Square. But with Square, if you're gonna take it, let me go back to it. if you're gonna take it, week by week, just shoot for like the 260 for square. Just go with the 260 or the 265 for this week's expiration, the 260 or 265. If you want to go with this week's expiration. All right, for this upcoming week's expiration or next week's expiration, if you want to give yourself some room. All right. Then Twitter, what you could be looking at with Twitter is you could be looking at like the 60, I would say like maybe the 63 or 65 call for Twitter. The 63 call or 65 for this week's, or if you want to give yourself an extra week. But then if you want to go with the October contract, let's look at Twitter. The October, you can go with the 70 contract. It's a lot of people at the 70 and the 65. But if you want to go with like October 15th, the monthly contract, which it's the monthly because it's gray, the weeklies would be yellow. All right. The monthly contracts are always going to be the third Friday of the month. But as you can see, it's a lot of people at the 70 for Twitter for the October. All right. So you want to go ahead and, stake your position right here. Then we go with crowd next. Crowd on the monthly, inside month. On the week, it's a 2 down candle. All right. So potentially, let me clear this out. So potentially you have a 2 down, 2 up reversal. And as you can see, it didn't take out this bottom pivot. So this potentially was just a pullback correction. All right. Before a crowd continues up. Kind of like how I did right here was like a little bit of a correction, then launch back up. Potentially could be the same situation, but I'm going to go ahead and mark the high, mark the low. All right. So you got your entry, puts, week. And then down here would be your PT1 for puts on the week, PT1 puts week. Because there was a gap that crowd had to fill, but I don't think it really filled it all the way, but they might not care because I look back on crowd chart and it has like a lot of gaps everywhere, like small gaps. If you look back in time on it, then you got your entry calls week. All right. And then PT1 for calls and then PT2. PT1 calls week. PT2 calls week. All right. Then we go down to the daily. And as you can see, it's still this gap to fill. So I'll call this PT1. And I think all it probably wants to do is fill that gap. If it does come back down, PT1 puts daily. I think it just probably will just want to fill that gap. All right. Man, oops, I didn't mean to make that a dot. All right. Because it's just still this gap fill, this little baby gap. All right. But we'll see what happens. Then you got, entry puts on the daily. And these would be like the first price targets. So entry puts daily. And then entry. I meant not entry. PT1 puts daily. And then PT2 puts daily. All right. So that's what we got. And then for calls, you got PT1 and then PT2 in between, the price target for the week. PT1 calls daily. Then PT2 calls daily. All right. Then we go down to the 4 hours, see if we got our earlier entry. We do. Your early entry for puts is 260.78. Entry puts 4 hour. And then your early entry for calls on the 4 hours, 263.35. Entry calls 4 hour. All right. So with crowd, you could be looking at like the 275 call to be in the money by the time it hits the price target for calls on the week. Or you can just look at the 270. It's up to you in your price range. So I would just like say, 270 or 275 call. If you want to go out an extra week, you can. You can look at crowd. So like let's say you want to go at the October, you could potentially look at maybe like the 300. Seems to be a lot of people there, but not too many. Seem like it's more people on the put side. But if you're going with this week's contract, like say you can go like the 270, so you can be in the money, or like the 275. And then for puts, you can look at the 260 to 255. Again, whenever you're looking at puts, a lot of times you want to be in the money by the time you hit your second price target at least, or maybe even your first price target. You'll want to try to be in the money if you can. Um, but also use the analyze tab to see what's your risk to reward and see how you want to play it. All right. So that's crowd. Next we got eBay. A lot of these, as you can see, are like 2-2 reversals. I think eBay's an inside day. Yeah. Uh, go to week. You see 2 down week. Green 2 down potentially can go 2 down, 2 up. All right. And then on the month, see it's an inside month. Could be setting up potentially for the next month, 3-1-2 continuation or maybe 3-1-2 reversal. We'll see uh, how these next couple weeks play out. SQ is really the only one I'm like looking ahead for, like SQ and kind of like Twitter so far. But let me clear this drawing set. All right, so with Twitter, um, like I said, potential 2 down, 2 up reversal on the month. I mean on the week, but still mark the high and low. And then this would be which is a far price target for puts on the week, which I don't really think it'd go that low. PT1 puts week, but just so you can see it, we'll go ahead and mark it because that's a long way to go. Then you got PT, I mean not PT, entry puts week. Then you got your entry for calls on the week. Entry calls week. All right, so entry calls week 75.11. Entry puts week 71.03. And you got your 2 price targets for calls. So PT1 calls week. And then PT2. PT2 calls week. Oops. All right, boom. Then we go down to the daily. Oops, not the 2 day. The daily. And then if you want to draw the broad information, it's going to be like from here to here, from this high back to this high, previous high. So you're just looking where price reverse, boom, price reverse right here, price reverse from up here, start coming down. All right. So basically, you can see that's the inside day. So the inside day high is 75.1. Literally, the entry for the day and the week are literally saying they're a cent off. So I'm not going to worry about marking the high that one. Then you got your entry for puts on the daily at 73.73. Entry puts daily. Then you got your PT1 for puts on the daily PT1 puts daily. And so when I'm saying daily and weekly, that means on that time frame. All right. So we're on the daily time frame. So PT2 puts daily. All right. That's the time frame that I'm getting it on. All right. And then on the 4 hour, we got an earlier entry for calls and puts. So entry for puts is below 73.93 on the 4 hour. Entry puts 4 hour. Then on for calls on the 4 hour be 74.36. That's your entry for calls on the 4 hour. All right. So that's what we got for eBay. For eBay, I would say probably you can really go like the 75 calls for eBay, literally. I would just say go with the 75. All right. 75. A lot of people like fives and zeros. So I'll go with the 75, the most volume of open interest right there. And then, for puts, you can go with like this. I would say go with like the 73. Let me see what they got going on this October contract. Yeah, it's a lot of people at the 75 and most people on the put side. So yeah, we'll see how eBay plays out. The only reason why it's even making the trade ideas really is because of potential 2 down, 2 up reversal right here. If this wants to be the bottom of the triangle to go back up into the all-time highs, we'll see how it plays out. All right. And then next, what we got is CBS. So CBS on the month, you see it went 2 up. All right. So it went 3-2 continuation. Right now it's below that, but potentially it could, break to the upside. So let me clear this draw set. So mark the high, mark the low. This would be price target 1 for puts. All right. So this will be your entry for calls on the week. Entry calls week. Then this will be your entry for puts on the week. Entry puts week. And then here's your PT1 for puts on the week. PT1 puts week. We'll see how these next couple of weeks play out. Since the monthly contracts didn't expire, I'm curious to see how the market plays out. Will we get some volume back or will it just be kind of like meh? All right. Oops. PT2 puts week. We'll adjust and see how the market goes. All right. And then, you got your PT1 for for calls on the week, PT1 calls. And then you got PT2. PT2 calls. All right. And, hopefully it will break out to the upside. We'll see. We go down to the daily. You see it's kind of like been ranging. Really, the broad information probably be from like here. Really in a range right now. But here to here, or you could say here to here was the bottom. Let me delete this one. And then from the top back. So that's the broad information right now because it's stuck in this range. All right. Then you mark the high, mark the low. This would be PT1 for puts on the daily. This 84.57 PT1 puts daily. And you have your entry for puts on the daily. at 84.84. And then you got your entry for calls right here at 85.83 on the daily entry. Calls daily. All right. Oops. All right. Entry calls on the daily 85.83. Entry puts on the daily 84.84. And then you got your in between, call this PT1. I would just say PT calls daily. Because technically the weekly entry is gonna be the first price target, and then your second price target would be right here. But I'm just gonna call it a PT calls on daily. All right. Then on the 4 hour, got an earlier entry. You got your entry for puts on the 4 hour for 85.32. Entry puts 4 hour. And so again, with these smaller time frames, what you're hoping is that if it goes 2-1-2 reversal right here, that this 4 hour entry for puts will end up going down far enough to trigger the entry for puts on the daily, what gives you a directional day. So you get a directional 4 hour. Hopefully that leads into a directional day, which leads to you hitting a price target 1 on the day. And then hopefully that ends up leading into your entry on the week. So you get a directional week, right? So a lot of times you're hopping in on the lower time frame to get a good feel for your option contract, to lead that into having a higher directional time frame, right? Because if it doesn't trigger the entry for calls on the day or the puts on the day, that means you have an inside day, which would be a chop shop. And unless you feel like scalping up and down, then you know what I'm saying, you would want to you would hop out once it pulled back the first time, whether it pulls back from being calls or pulls back from being puts, right? When it reverses on you. So the that's how I'm finding these trades. That's how I'm looking at it. I hop in on the 4 hour. The 4 hour hopefully will keep going and trigger the day. Now I got a directional day. Now I'm feeling good. And then that'll continue and lead to a directional week. All right. So it's not just a choppy inside week like CVS was this past week. All right. All right. So entry calls 4 hour right here. Entry calls 4 hour for 85.73. And then with this, what I'm looking at will probably be, I would say probably an 86 call for CVS. What we got? CVS? Yeah, 86. 86 call. Or you can go 87, but I'm probably going to go 86. Get in the money ASAP. Because if it triggers the week and then hits PT1, I'm going to be in the money. Right? Now I feel more comfortable riding out the rest of the time because I got that intrinsic value working for me. Right? So 86C. This week's expiration. Depending on how directional it gets, if you wanted to look at the October, you could the October 90, but it have to be a really good week, and that's what we gotta see what happens. Um, yeah, because I mean it already went 2 up on the month. It would just have to go back green. If it goes back green on the month, then you can look at that. All right. Because it looks like at one point in time, CVS was high up there. And then the other ones, which is kind of like a sympathy play, you got CVS and you got Walgreens. But Walgreens, yeah, WBA, yeah, it went 2 up on the month. It just got to go back green. So they might be following each other, except for Walgreens got a rev stretch set up. So it got a 1-2 down, potential 2 up reversal, right? So I'm gonna look at Walgreens specifically just for calls. If it goes puts, I'm not gonna worry about it because a rev strat to the upside, a 1-2 down, 2 up reversal can be an explosive reversal. And if Walgreens is explosive, then more than likely CVS will end up being explosive because they kind of like run together. All right. So entry for calls week. So this is one I'll be biased on and won't take if it doesn't go. PT1 calls week. And then PT2 calls week. Go down to the daily. You got your 3 to the upside. And then right here, look at this. A potential 2 down, 2 up reversal. So reversal into the week reversal, which is just crazy. All right. Hold on, y'all. Getting a phone call. All right. So this one, entry calls. Again, I'm gonna be completely biased this once. Because if it goes puts, I'm just not gonna look at it. So I'm an entry calls daily. All right. And then boom, into the week, and then this be your PTs on the daily in between. I just say PT1 calls daily on this one, since there's 2. And then PT2 calls daily. Oops, gotta change the color. All right, and if I was drawing the broad information, I'd probably just like draw it here to here. And then, just here to here, just to make it easier. Yeah, because trying to find one back, you didn't break the hottest one, so it'd be like right there. All right. So this really could be a good setup. 2 down, 2 up reversal triggers the week, and then that sets up the 1-2-2. This could get like really explosive, right? Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not the cleanest pivot machine gun, but something similar. Not really the best setup for one. Then you, oops. Then you got the earlier entry for calls on the 4 hour. So you got the early entry, which is really just 4 cents, but it's not much, but you can just go ahead and hop in entry calls 4 hour. All right. So that's what we got. For Walgreens. Like, let me see. Like, look at this. 11,000 people at 50. 11,000 people at 52.5. What a chart at 49. So this week's expiration, what is it looking like? Yeah. So I would say go with like the 50 call, or like if you want to go with like the 51. If you wanted to go with the October expiration, you could 50C, 51C. But it's looking like most people are just at that 50 range. They're not really expecting it to go that high. So it could work out, like that in this week. So let me see what happens. Let's see, we grab the 50, right? Buy single. Oops. What did I do? Oh, because that's past its expiration. All right. So if it, let me look at the chart. Because on a 1-2-2, the mag isn't actually the one. I actually wasn't supposed to mark that, but just so you know, because technically on the strat, if you look at the cheat sheet, the target isn't the one. The target is actually the candle before the one. So if it did a 1-2-2 reversal right here, technically the magnitude is 51.93. So let's just say it went to 51.93 by expiration, right? Let's just say the last day expiration, 51.93. That'd be 300%. But let's just say it happened Wednesday. Just throw something out there. Hold on. Am I making this right? No, I'm not doing it right. Yeah, I'm tripping. My bad, y'all. If it went to 51.93 at expiration, I'm sorry, y'all. That would be 142. So still like almost 300%. My bad, y'all. And then if it did it by the 22nd, still a good percentage, almost 300%. All right. That's the 50. Um, if we grab the 51, see what this one would be. 51. It went to 51.93. That's 88. That's what, 400%. So we'll see. But that's going to be your trade ideas. That's all I really got. Y'all know as the week progresses, I put out a daily list, a day trade list. So we'll see what happens when the week starts to play out. But so far, this is really all I got. I want to say this were the only setups. Let me do a quick scan. Because I kind of like had already did my scans, but let me just redo them real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything on the weekly chart. All right. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. Oh, for those people that like the 122s, you can look at Snap. I don't really like Snap like that because it still got that gap. So for me, it's kind of like hard. Also, you could look at, potentially beyond. With it got a 1-2. No, hold on. I think it just got a two down, two up. Yeah, it got a potential two down, two up reversal back to the upside. It went crazy Friday, so you can look at that. See if there's anything bearish. Where's my shooter scanner? All right, boom. So you can look at, beyond or snap if you want to. I forgot the other one. Um, just rewind it because I forgot that quick. Um, yeah. So that's what you can look at so far. That's what I got. And again, just make sure you check out the Twitches. Follow the Twitch. That'll be in the description, and follow me on Instagram. And I'm out.